We've reached that point where Nebraska's 2026 recruiting class is pretty much wrapped up. It is over. And yes, the Husker still likely land 1, 2, 3 more commits by signing day. But the meat and potatoes, it is already figured out. We have got our guys. So in today's video, I've been waiting to post my full evaluation of the entire Husker 2026 recruiting class. We're going to go over every single commit in detail, my honest expectations, the pros and cons in their game, and then we're going to hand out some awards, the most underrated commit, the MVP, the early impact player, and a couple other surprises. And last but not least, I'm going to reveal my official Super 6, the 6 players I'm expecting the most from in Lincoln. So real quick, we have a lot to get into. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for daily content talking Huskers? It's no brand. Take 2 seconds. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's get into it. We have a lot to talk about. It feels weird saying this in August, but the Huskers recruiting class is pretty much over. We know that it's going to be a smaller class for the Huskers this year. They only have 12 total commits, and they'll probably still land maybe 1, 2, 3 more guys by signing day. But the meat and the potatoes, it's already figured out. We've got our guys. So that being said, we're going to dive into my full analysis of this entire class. We're going to go over every single commit in detail, the pros and cons, my honest evaluation, and then we'll go to my awards, and then last but not least, my Super 6 at the very end. So let's start it off with our quarterback commit. You already know who this is, younger brother of Dylan Raiola, none other than Dayton Raiola out of Buford, Georgia, somebody who is a low 3-star commit. Only other offers are from Appalachian State and Charlotte. Now, I'll be very honest with Dane. We'll start off with the pros. The pros are, man, oh man, can that guy sling the football? He can throw about 60, 65, 70 yards in the air. He has a lot of great traits to him. He can get out to the pocket. He's a lefty. He's somebody who has pretty decent accuracy, which is something that I think people don't give him enough credit for. So there's a lot to like around Dane Raiola, but I just will say this. He's incredibly raw. There's a reason why Dylan was a 5-star recruit, every offer you can imagine, and Dane is what he is. Okay, and I think a lot of people, I think a lot of Nebraska fans just have too many lofty expectations for Dane. They think that, Dylan's going to be our guy up until, 2027, and then Dayton's going to take over. That's not going to happen in a million years. Okay, Dayton is somebody who's a project. Nebraska knew that when they got him. He's somebody who's going to take time to develop, and the reason why it's going to take time to develop, and you'll see this on his film, it's not any of the, the things you see on the field. It's not the arm strength, it's not the accuracy. Again, he can get out to the pocket pretty well. It's all of the IQ, the progressions, okay? This is when I could step up in the pocket and make a play. This is when I should throw the ball away, okay? It's the straight up learning Big Ten defenses, learning even high school defenses, right? Reading coverages, reading stuff pre-snap. It's all of the intangibles. That's really what takes you from a good to a great quarterback. And that's how you can find the field instantly when you get to college. Now, that's the thing where, Dylan was at a different level in high school. That's why he was a 5-star recruit, because he was super smart. Dayton is just not there yet, right? Again, there's just a lot of things from an IQ standpoint, just specifically his progressions. It's not good enough. You watch his tape and he'll have maybe 1, 2 progressions and he'll bail. To be, an upper echelon quarterback, you got to develop that sooner rather than later. I do think while his accuracy is good right now, it wasn't Dylan's accuracy. It wasn't. So that's my evaluation of Dayton. I just think, he's somebody where we know what our plan is at quarterback. Okay, we have TJ for the long haul. We have Marcus Davila. We have Trey Taylor as a 5-star coming in 27. Like, Dayton is pretty much low pressure. Like, if he doesn't work out, we're not depending on him to work out. Like, we're going to be perfectly fine. But if he were to be a productive quarterback, that's even better for us. So, again, there's just kind of no pressure on Dayton. But am I expecting him to be kind of a guy like Dylan or better? Probably not. But I will say this about Dayton. One of the reasons why I really like him and I gravitate toward him is because he always wanted to be at Nebraska. He grew up a big Nebraska and even bigger than Dylan. And, when he got that offer from Nebraska, it was a no-brainer. Okay. Dylan was not the exact same way. He got an offer from Nebraska pretty early on, and he chose Ohio State over us. He chose Georgia over us. It took him the third try to say, okay, this is where I wanted to be. Dayton knew from day one he wanted to be here. Even if he had other offers, he'd still pick Nebraska. So that's why I really gravitated toward Dayton, because this is his home and this is where he wanted to be all along. So I'm rooting for him, but again, it's going to take time. It's going to take probably 2 or 3 years for him to develop, and hopefully he can become a solid quarterback for the Huskers. Then let's go to our running back commit. This is Jamal Rule. Now, we got him just about 2 months ago at this point in time, coming out of North Carolina. Some decent offers in there, mostly East Coast schools. You had Michigan State, you had Virginia Tech, you had Syracuse, you had Boston College, just to name a few. But Jamal Rule is somebody where, over time, I've got a lot higher on him. I compare him a lot to Gabe Ervin, where, Gabe Ervin was very similar coming out of Buford, where he was very similar stature, kind of a similar build where, again, somebody's going to stiff arm you, somebody's going to bull rush you, but he's a short yards running back with a pretty medium ceiling. I feel like exact same way about Jamal Rule. Now, is he somebody who's going to be, a Heisman candidate for you? No, let's be honest, probably not. But that's not what we're looking for at the running back position. We're just looking for somebody to hold it down, give us some valuable snaps, 15 carries, game at most, and to be a bruiser at times. And I think Jamal Rule can do that. Is he somebody super dynamic maybe in the passing game? Probably not. But that's what Nebraska understood when they were getting him. So I think Jamal Rule is just going to be kind of like a Gabe Ervin. I think you could do a lot worse than Gabe Ervin. You could do a lot better, but Gabe Ervin was a pretty good player for Nebraska. So that's my comparison to him. Pretty good pickup by the Huskers. Now, I won't lie. I wouldn't have minded getting a Brian Bonner or a Devin Walker. So kind of it is frustrating we didn't land those two guys, but Jamal Rule's pretty good, and there's a reason why Nebraska took him over those two prospects. It's because Jamal Rule cost this coaching staff a lot less money. Like, Devin Walker was going to cost some money. Brian Bonner was going to cost 4 or 5 times more. And they said, while we evaluated those players and we think those players are probably better than Jamal, we don't think that gap's that big. We think maybe Brian's here and Jamal's right here. We're not willing to spend 5 more on Brian when we think Jamal's about just good at a player. So that's why they brought Jamal Rule. But I compare him a little bit to a Gabe Ervin, but I really like him off the field, man. He's somebody who's going to work hard here. He's going to make his impact felt. And probably on day one. So for that reason, that's my evaluation. And then going to our wide receivers, we have 3 total commits as it stands. We have Nalin Scott, who was a former 4-star recruit, got bumped down to a 3-star, but I think he should be a 4-star. Like, I'm a big Nalin Scott guy. Plays against the best talent down there at Georgia, about 6'2", 200 pounds. I think I compare him to a more athletic Jamarion Bonner. That's what I would say, because both of them are coming out of Georgia. Both of them are former 4-stars. Both of them, very similar stature, 6'2", 200 pounds. But Nalin Scott, somebody who plays tight end, plays wide receiver. They both of them have that positional versatility. Like, the more I talk about it, the more I see the connections between Jamarion Bonner. I just think Nalin Scott has such a higher potential than Jamarion because he does have some decent speed. His blocking's been great from day one. He's somebody who has that catchability. He has every option you can imagine from Georgia, LSU, go down the list. So Nalin Scott, I would just compare him. I'd say he's a better Jamarion Bonner. And will he play as a true freshman? Probably not. I think this receiver room is going to be pretty loaded next year. With of course, you got Shakori, you got Demetrius Bell, you got Isaiah Mosley maybe going back to receiver at that point in time, Cortez Mills, Jeremiah Jones, you got some transfers probably coming into Nyziah Hunter, obviously. So I probably not as a true freshman, but Nalin Scott, somebody who I think is going to be very crucial long term. Larry Miles, I've also got a lot more high on him over time. So, he was somebody who was coming out of Orlando, Florida, shifty slot receiver. Super productive. Now, the thing about him is he's not super fast, which is kind of a bummer for somebody who's not very tall either. So he's not fast, not tall, but the production speaks for itself. And if you've watched his high school film, he's productive. Okay, he's a 1,000-yard receiver. He finds a soft spot in the zone. He knows how to beat man coverage. He's a very phenomenal route runner. So that's why I like Larry Miles' game. It's not necessarily, again, he doesn't have all the physical traits in the world, but if you can be a great route runner and you can just polish that, you're going to be fine. You're going to be more than fine next time, especially in the slot. So that's why I'm still pretty high on Larry Miles, but it's all about him doing everything right from Monday to Friday, like it is with all these commits. And that's the thing I'm looking out for when it comes to him. And then you got Dayton Bonwell, who is still in this class for Nebraska. Now, there are a lot of rumors that he was going to decommit because he did not take an official visit. He still might decommit by sign day. It's still up in the air. We haven't received confirmation. But as it stands, he's in this class. And I'll give you my analysis. Like, Dayton Bonwell, this is a big year for him because he did not play at all during his junior campaign. He's out of South Dakota. The talent is not very good there. He is 6'1". He is pretty fast, but he blew out his knee. And when you blow out your knee to the level he did, we don't know if you're going to become the same player. So I think that's the reason why he didn't take an official visit is there's an offer on the table from Nebraska to say, hey, if you're the same player you were after the injury, actually you have to be better than that, we'll keep you. But if you're struggling out there, or you don't look like the same guy, we're going to drop your offer. And I think that's probably what the case is. Now, I can't confirm that. I don't have an inside scoop there. But, Dayton Bonwell, there is a concern. Like, having that crucial of an injury as a junior in high school with a knee when you're a shifty outside receiver who already doesn't play against the best talent. You already have a lot of things stacked up against you. It's not great. It's not an awesome look. So we'll see if he ends up in this class. And it also should be mentioned, Da'Keil Shorts didn't recruit this guy. So it's no lost love. We just have a new coaching staff from what we had when he committed. So we'll see. To me, it just depends on what we see in this junior year because he has not played football in about 1.5 seasons. And that's just not good enough, to be honest with you. So we'll see him in 2025, but I'm going to definitely be watching this film. I'm going to be watching him with a very close microscope for sure. And then you go over to tight end. You got Luke Sorensen, who I think is really underrated. I think Luke Sorensen is really underrated. I mean, he should be a 4-star recruit. Get somebody who is incredibly fast, only been playing football for 2 years. He's a physical blocker. He's 250 pounds already, which is crazy for somebody who's 17 years old. Buy some Luke Sorensen stock. He's going to be phenomenal for Nebraska. We'll end it off with that around him. And then let's go to the offensive line. Let's have a conversation about these offensive linemen. Claude Mpouma, which is arguably Nebraska's biggest addition of this class, coming out of Chicago, still also learning how to play football, only been playing for a couple years. I would say Claude Mpouma is a very raw player. I think a lot of people, when you get an offensive tackle of his stature, you expect him to be an instant impact guy. I'm not there with Claude Mpouma. It's just because his footwork is not good. His pass pro is not good. He's still learning how to play this sport. So while his ceiling is, first round NFL draft pick type of stuff, right? It's great. It's going to take time for him to get there. Okay, you can't teach his length. You can't teach his aggressiveness. You can't teach his build. Okay, he has a lot of things you can't teach, and that's why the ranking is what it is. The ranking is not because of how productive he is just yet. Like, he's great in the football field, but again, the pass pro, he doesn't know what he's doing in the pass pro because he hasn't been taught just yet because he's been playing for just a couple seasons. So that's my analysis of Claude Mpouma. Like, long term, if we trust our development here, which we do, he's going to be fine. But he's just not somebody who you're going to see on the depth chart probably in the first 2 seasons. And that's okay. That's how it should be on the offensive line. That's how it should be. So that's my analysis of Claude Mpouma. Just got to trust Donovan Raiola can bring the best out of him. Hayden Ainsworth. Another guy who's super disrespected, in my opinion. He should be a 4-star. He should be a 4-star. Somebody who was a consensus 4-star. He actually reclassified from 2027 up to 2026 because he was that smart. He was that ahead of the curve. And after that, after all the offers he received, he got one from Alabama, for crying out loud. He went from a 4-star consensus to a low 3-star. Like, that should not be the case around him. So, Hayden Ainsworth can play tackle, can play guard. I like his future more at guard, I'll be very honest with you. But they're going to try him out at tackle, but he's somebody who I think is going to be a 4-star when it's all said and done. For sure. And then you got Leon Noil, kind of very similar, actually. Nebraska, they recruited him to play tackle. I like him a little bit more at guard. He's coming out of New Orleans, very historic high school there in Edna Carr. Super athletic. I'd say his ranking's pretty accurate, like a pretty mid 3-star. I think that's solid for him. He's kind of undersized. He's only 255 pounds, so he's got to put on weight quick. He's got to put on weight. Probably get up to about 300 pretty quickly here, like within the first 2 years of college. So that's the main thing around him, where he's athletic and he doesn't have bad weight on him, but he doesn't have any weight to begin with. So he got to put on some muscle because he's pretty undersized. But from an athleticism standpoint, from an arm standpoint, he has a future at guard. He could be really good, but man, you got to put on some weight very quickly. But I like that addition for Nebraska. And then you got Rex Waterman, who Nebraska, they felt like they got a hidden gem here. He's okay. Rex Waterman's okay. He's a big nasty, though. That's what I like about him, where he's somebody who is going to get in your face a little bit, right? He's gonna make you hurt, and that's what I like around him. Where I think sometimes on this offensive line we got too many nice guys. Hey, Rex Waterman's not a nice guy. He's gonna try to get your butt in the dirt every single play, right? So I think we need some more big nasties up front. The long hair, you see him. Put on a lot of good weight this offseason as well. He looks a lot different than what he did about a year ago. So Rex Waterman hopefully has a good senior year. But I think the rating's pretty accurate for him. He's a low 3-star. Like, technique, upside, just kind of that reading in between lines there. That's my take. All right, Jase Reynolds. This is somebody, I'll be honest with you, he's super high ceiling, super low floor. There is a reality where Jase Reynolds never plays here. There's also a reality where he's pretty good. But, when you watch his tape, super speedy. Elkhorn North, super speedy. He played middle linebacker, played in the secondary a little bit. Like, he came down with a couple interceptions, or a passes defended, I should say. But the thing around Jase Reynolds is that, he's not a physical tackler. Didn't have a bunch of good weight on him last year. I'll just stick with that. I think he's a very, very high floor, or excuse me, very high ceiling, low floor. So it wasn't like the biggest fan of this edition. I'll be honest with you. And then last but not least, this is the best player Nebraska landed in this class, is Danny Odem, who's a riser up the recruiting rankings. We started recruiting when he was a 3-star, and now he's up to a top 100 player in America. And Danny Odem's the real deal. He's pound for pound one of the best man coverage corners in this class, which we desperately lack. 6'2", great length on him, which Nebraska's looking for. Great physicality coming out of Orlando, who's originally from Pennsylvania, so he's physical. He's an East Coast kid. So Danny Odem is going to be great for Nebraska. So there's nothing beyond that. Great in man coverage. Only thing I'm looking out for is zone coverage. Can he develop himself in zone coverage? But he's going to be a phenomenal player for the Big Red. All right. With that being said, that's my analysis of every single player. Let's get into my awards and then my Super 6 early impact player. Let's keep it right here. Danny Odem gets that first award. I think it's going to be a mix of true freshman, potentially star. That's how high I am on him. And also, I think the secondary is going to be wide open after this year. We lose a lot of seniors. Obviously, we're going to bring transfers in, but we're also going to lose some transfers as well. Dane with his ceiling, with his already great man coverage ability, with his technique, he's going to be good from the very get-go. All right, my sleeper award. Somebody who's being slept on by the media. This is Hayden Ainsworth. I mean, this guy should be a 4-star. This is one of my guys. I was a big-time Hayden Ainsworth fan before Nebraska landed him. He's going to be phenomenal for the Huskers. Big-time sleeper. Now, my disrespected award. So, sleeper is the media is kind of sleeping on him. Disrespected is, okay, the media just, they need to give this guy a lot more respect because he's a lot better than what they're giving him credit for. This is Luke Sorensen. I think Luke Sorensen should be a top 200 player in America. You will be hard-pressed to find another tight end in this country who, as a 17-year-old, is as good of a blocker as he is and also has the hands, has the catch radius, has the speed. And only been playing football for 2 years. Like, I mean, the upside is through the roof for a guy like Luke Sorensen. So that's my disrespect award. He should be a lot higher. Developmental award, which is my award for the guy who, after a couple years, you're not going to see him within the first couple years, but after that, you'll see him a lot. He's going to be on the field and playing well. I'm going to go with Leon Noil. I think with his athletic upside, he's a freak athleticism for an offensive guard. Good length, about 6'4", coming out of a Pipeline High School in New Orleans, which has been very successful, bringing out offensive linemen. He's going to be great for Nebraska. It's going to take time for Mick. You're not going to see him within the first 2-3 years, but again, if we trust our development out of the offensive line, we should trust him because, his athleticism is through the roof. Biggest recruiting win of the cycle, meeting Nebraska. This is the guy that they couldn't afford to lose, and they landed him. This is pretty much Claude Mpouma. That was a big time when you had to get a blue chip offensive tackle. You missed out on Kelvin Obot. You missed out on Malachi Lee, a couple others in there. Like, you had to get your bona fide 4-star offensive tackle. Big win for Nebraska, getting it done and beating Florida and Auburn for him. And then my recruiter of the year, which goes to the coach who did the best job on the recruiting trail as a positional coach. This is Don Raiola. Donnie did a great job, not only the 26 class, but in the 27. If you're looking at the 27 class, already a bunch of 5-stars are scheduling visits to us. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing a good job. And that kind of came out of nowhere because a couple years ago, there were a lot of concerns that he wasn't a great recruiter. He did a 180, but Don Raiola, phenomenal job in this 26 class. Salute to our man, Donnie, for the Huskers. All right, with that being said, let's go to my Super 6. Now, I'm going to shrink it a little bit. I'm going to go my Super 4 because I don't know what this recruiting class is going to look like by signing day. Super 6 would be kind of bad because we only have 12 total commits. So that means half of our commits would be in my Super 6. I'm just going to go to my Super 4. My Super 4, I'm going to call it my Fantastic 4, actually. The 4 commits who I'm expecting the most from at Nebraska will get things going. Luke Sorensen gets my first spot. I believe he should be a 4-star tight end, no question about it. He's going to be probably not an instant impact guy, but probably into year 2 will play a lot for Nebraska. Hayden Ainsworth gets my second spot. I believe he right now is Nebraska's best offensive line commit. And he's going to be a lot more early. He's going to probably be somebody in the mix as a second year as an offensive lineman, whether it's at guard, tackle, his position of flexibility. Third spot goes to Claude Mpouma. That should be obvious with his upside. He is the highest upside probably of anybody else in this class for Nebraska. And then number 4, Danny Odem. I'm going to be staying there. This is the best player in the class pretty easily. As it stands right now, he is the best player in the class. Best man coverage. Also great size, great explosiveness, great upside. I'd say Claude probably has a little bit of a higher upside, but Danny also has the ability to potentially be a very high NFL draft pick. All right, guys. That's my full analysis on the entire 2026 recruiting class for Nebraska as it stands. It's not over, but as it stands, that's my take. All right, guys, let me know what you're thinking down below. Hey, if you made this far, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go Rule, and I'll see you in the next one.